The Redlg Program is one of the best programs that rural development has.
Redlg is a big acronym for the Rural Economic Development Loan and Grant Program.
The Rural Economic Development Loan and Grant Program is a 0% loan as well as grants that are available to rural utility service participants for the purpose of assisting economic or community development projects in rural areas.
One of the things that all of rural America faces is just population decline and keeping our businesses in our communities. And so it takes special tools like this to really help drive local development, help good things happen so that you keep your communities vibrant.
The electric cooperatives live by 7 principles, cooperative principles, and one of those principles is concern for community. That's why the electric co-ops historically, for a long time, have been involved in rural development.
The law authorizing the Redlg Loan Program and Grant Program actually specifically designates that the money is to be lent through electric cooperatives.
We see the electric cooperatives as being some of the best corporate citizens in rural America.
They're involved with the Chamber of Commerce, they're involved with the school district, all of those other local institutions the co-op is plugged into. And they knew that that would be a good vehicle for the money to flow to.
Who better to administer the programs? Because when they give these Redlg programs to a hospital, to a college, to an educational school, for businesses, they're helping their members and they're helping those communities that surround that.
From a cooperative standpoint, you have an awful lot of fixed costs in a defined geography. And so the best way to keep the system strong, keep costs at a minimum, is for us to grow the local economy.
The more vibrant an electric cooperative service territory is, the better and the more stable electric sales are, which improves the financial capabilities of the electric cooperatives, helps to ensure that rates are stable and service is reliable and available.
Even though these rural projects that Redlg helps finance aren't as high profile, they have a major impact. Even if you locate a business that hires 20 people, those 20 people are going to be paying taxes, they're going to be actively involved in the community, and they're going to be making a difference in that town of 800, 1,000, 1,500 people.
My chancellor, who had worked previously in Mississippi, had used the Redlg program, and as we were looking to move into the Branson-Hollister area, that was one of the programs we wanted to look into, and so we contacted White River, and boy, they couldn't have been more helpful. We have here at the beginning a $12 million infrastructure with the building, the land for the parking, and $740,000 of that came through the Redlg grant. 0 interest. I mean, that is a godsend for community colleges like us who are strapped for dollars. What we know is that when young people leave the community to attend the university, they rarely come home. What we are now doing by educating young folks in this community, they're not leaving, they're staying here, and then become a part of the greater community, building that community, driving the tax base. It really has been, if you will, a godsend that we are able to serve citizens in this community who otherwise would never consider higher education if it were not the fact that we are here serving them. Even though OTC Table Rock campus is not served by White River, they understood that a strong higher education system will make their community a greater community.
The Redlg program is one of the easier programs in the federal government as far as I'm concerned. There's less red tape.
The ultimate recipient that receives the funds from the co-op actually does not even have to be a member of the co-op.
The Redlg program is a great financial tool, but it's not typically the only source of funding in any project. By regulation, there has to be at least 20% of other funds go into that project.
For example, if we were looking at a proposal for a $1 million loan, that project would have to have at least $200,000 in funds from some other source. Beyond that, there are some loan security requirements in order to protect the cooperative members' capital against undue risk. Typically what the cooperative is going to require is either an irrevocable letter of credit or a deposit account to secure that loan.
One of the great things about the Redlg program is that each application is treated as an individual application. So there's no limit to how many times you go back to the program to help a particular company. There's no limit to how many times the cooperative can go back.
The Redlg program is one of the broadest programs as far as eligibility for different types of projects that we have.
Generally in the Redlg program, you can see projects that fall into one of three categories. Either a private for-profit business that's going to either create new jobs or else is undertaking an expansion project that's going to increase their employment base or make their existing employment base more secure. In addition to that, we see projects related to healthcare for rural residents, or it could be an educational project that represents opportunities for rural residents to increase their knowledge and skills.
USDA has been very good about looking at factors such as unemployment, poverty, income levels, and trying to boost those areas to make them more competitive.
The more impact that a project has, the more jobs that are involved, the more that the project provides essential community services to rural residents. Those are the things that are going to make the project more likely to receive the funding.
The Redlg program basically has two parts to it.
We can loan up to $1 million at 0% for 10 years, and then those funds are provided on those same terms to the business or community organization that's receiving the funding.
On the loan side, when the loan's paid back and it's done. So what's in it for White River? Absolutely nothing as far as monetary. They are in it because they believe in their communities, they believe in helping their members, and they see the benefit of the Redlg program in achieving that goal.
Program number 2 is a grant to create a revolving loan fund.
It is not a grant to the ultimate recipient.
We provide the grant to the electric cooperative. The electric cooperative uses the grant funds to establish a revolving loan fund for business or community development projects.
This one differs a little bit. It's the first time the money has to be used to help a nonprofit entity. When they pay that money back, instead of it going back to USDA, it stays right there at the cooperative. It loses a lot of its federal identity, and now it can be loaned out both to businesses and nonprofits. We refer to the grant and the revolving loan fund as the gift that keeps on giving. There's no ceiling on how big you can make a revolving loan fund. You can go back to the programs as many times as you want. You can apply for as much as $300,000. Once that money revolves and it loses its federal identity, we can now charge an interest rate, but that interest rate is limited to the Wall Street Journal Prime. So right now it's about 3.25. That interest by regulation has to stay in the fund and make it bigger. In addition to the interest rate, the cooperative can charge a 1% administrative fee. That's really how the cooperative recoups their expenses for the time and effort to administer the fund. Obviously, we're not doing this to make money. What we're doing the revolving loan fund for is to provide another financial tool to our community and help good things happen.
Mountain Mushrooms is a specialty mushroom farm. Mountain Mushrooms produced 337,000 pounds of shiitakes and oyster specialty mushrooms for larger mushroom companies in the past year. In Ozark County, we're probably the 4th or 5th largest employer. We had run out of room. We needed to be located on a highway so that we could get large trucks in and out. I think I was at the bank and talking to them about expanding my business. And the bank had ideas about how we could pull together enough financing. Who would have thought you'd go to your local electric company to get a loan? The Redlg loan here, it was used to buy this piece of property. We wanted a sizable piece of property so that we could grow in the future. Every dime counts. Certainly, I appreciated a no interest loan. It was something we could add to the pot. It cleared the way for the bank to lend us money to build this building. And this project cost about $1.2 million altogether. I'm bowled over by all of what's happened. I want to do my part for my family, but it isn't just my family, it's an extended family in this community.
The Redlg program is funded not through tax dollars, but through the operations of the cooperative, because they have to borrow money for their operations. It's those repayments that fund this program.
The funding for the Redlg program comes from what's called the Rural Utility Service Cushion of Credit. And what that is a fund that's involved in the Rural Utility Service Loan Program, and a very, very small portion of that fund is placed into the Redlg Program.
The other piece of it comes from CFC's guaranteed financing tools.
The National Rural Utilities Cooperative Finance Corporation is a not-for-profit, cooperatively operated financial institution. CFC has the ability to go to USDA and the Federal Financing Bank and obtain low-cost capital at levels that are made available through congressional action. We pay not only an interest component for those funds, but we also pay a guarantee fee. The fees that we pay then go to help pay for the subsidy cost of the Redlg Program's zero interest rate loans and grants.
The Department of Economic Development really wants to have as much funding for these kind of projects as possible because it benefits the economy in Missouri, and particularly rural areas, which needs it really bad.
Right now there's about 4 times as many applications on file than there is dollars available. But we're taking that information to our congressional delegations and stressing to them how important this program is for rural America, and hopefully we can get them to increase those funding levels.
Congress's support for the Guaranteed Underwriting Program and the Redlg Program really is a win-win for rural America.
Cox Medical Center Branson is the community's premier hospital. As a full-service hospital, it's important that we have a healthy oncology program. Well, in 2007, Skaggs Hospital was not in a financial position to be able to go out and buy new equipment. There's certain technologies we didn't have here. Obviously, people still had cancer, and so they had to leave the community, most likely to go to Springfield or Kansas City or St. Louis. And so by White River reaching out to us and saying, hey, we have some access to 0% money. We don't even buy our power from White River Electric, but they saw that this would benefit a community that they're very ingrained in and that their members live in. And we did the first loan that White River helped us get and brought in the linear accelerator. And then 7 years later, they came back and they told us, no, hey, there's more monies here if you'd like to utilize this program. And so we were able to get not just one time, but twice in the 7-year period, 0% interest loans. Due to the generous efforts of White River Electric, we were able to bring this needed technology to our community a lot faster than we would have on our own. By White River helping us get access to these loans, they help us, but ultimately they also help the White River's members.
When you evaluate all of the states that are trying to get Redlg money, Missouri has done really well over the years. We're probably one of the top 5 states as far as the number of funds each year that's attracted.
I mean, if it doesn't go to Missouri, it's going to go somewhere else, so we obviously want to do what we can to get as much as we can here.
Missouri has been very, very fortunate in that we've received a great deal of this money because we've had active co-ops like White River going after it.
White River Valley Electric is the most active electric cooperative in Missouri in terms of using the Redlg program.
From 2009 to 2015, Missouri has invested over $15 million in the Redlg program. Of that $15 million, over a third of that has been to White River.
The leadership of White River Valley Electric has a strong belief in their ability to make a positive difference using these funds to assist projects that ultimately make rural Missouri a better place to live, work, and raise a family.
The members of White River Valley Electric Cooperative should be very proud of what their cooperative has done to make sure that resources are available in the local community to build jobs, to help develop community projects, which ultimately improves the quality of life for everyone that's a member of White River Valley Electric Cooperative.
I personally purchased my electric White River my home, and I'm a co-op member. And I'm proud that as a member of the co-op that we're doing things with the resources that White River has themselves and they have access to. They're kind of the energy and power folks, but in a kind of weird kind of way, they also bring energy and power to the community by helping get funds in the community.
Cooperatives should look at this as one of the tools in the tool chest to get deals done.
People often ask the but-for question, would this project have happened if it wasn't for these funds? And there are projects that you can definitely look back and say, this would not have happened in this community without this financial tool. With others, it may be more of an answer that says, this wouldn't have happened in this kind of time frame. It might be years off into the future before this happens without this financial tool. That's why we think Redlg is so important.
We are rural Missouri. We deserve every right in rural Missouri to have the same advantages of anywhere else. The Redlg program helps us do that.